everybody, this is Peggy. I'd like to just do a quick video showing you how easily I put this card together and some of the things I'm going to use to make it. Let me just show you. I'm going to be used, first of all, the Ultra Fine Flower Soft. This is the Citrus Crunch. I picked it because I wanted my card to kind of be a fall kind of a look. And then I'm going to use a little bit of zip dry paper glue. This dries really, really fast. And I'm going to show you how I do that with my little pin in the top. Then when I use the Flower Soft, I'm going to use the special glue that you use to make the Flower Soft stick to your paper. And then, of course, I always use my Tuxedo Black Memento ink. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, this is a new stamp for me. I just got it. It's a Hero Art stamp, and it's the clouds. Let me bring the card back in. Look at that background. Isn't that just too cool? Now, I know there's paper out there that has clouds, but this way, I've got my own little stamp to do whenever I want to. I'm going to be using my little tweezers. I think these are tweezer bees, they're called. And these are awesome when you're putting together little images like this, little die cuts that I used, again, using my Cricut. And this actually little deer is from Create a Critter. And my little tree is from the Creative Memories cartridge that's out there that you can only get through them. It's called Cheerful Seasons, and I just love that stick tree. Now, there are other trees out there on the Cricut cartridges you can find. I'm going to be using these really cool scissors from Martha Stewart. I don't know if you can see all those blades on there. That's how we're going to do our grass. Then I'm going to use my I love this pen. It's a pigment ink pen. It's a Signo Uniball, and I love this pen. I use it a lot. Then I'm going to use my glue glider. And then we're going to use, one more thing over here, some chalks. Now, I don't use chalks all the time. I have probably every set of these that you can get with the different colors, but it really does add a little bit. Again, I'll bring the card in to show you. I just wanted to add a little bit of pink. Can the camera see that right there? On that little deer's cheeks. So, those are some of the things we're going to be using. Well, let's get started. Now, this is the little tree, and again, I cut this out using the new Creative Memories cartridge, and I believe it's called Cheerful Seasons. I forgot what size I made this. I believe it's a 3 3/4. So, and I just used regular brown cardstock. I'm going to lay that on a piece of scratch paper, and I'm going to bring in my glue. And I'm just going to go around and put some glops of glue. How do you like that term, glop? I kind of like that. And I'm going to do this. Actually, I ended up putting the Flower Soft on my tree twice because I wanted it to really be full of leaves. And I just took all of the long branches right there. Now, one of the things you want to remember, again, I've told this before, when you're using the Flower Soft, you do not want to go and mash it in. You want the dimension. So, you'll notice when you get this out of here, it's hard to get it back in there. And I don't worry about it falling all over the place because I have my little piece of paper there for that reason. So while this is drying, I'll show you some of the other things that we did. And like I said, what I did is I let this dry on the original card, and then I came back and I put a little bit more glue on there, and I did it again so that I get some nice fluffiness to it, because I'm really into dimension. Make sure I get a lot on that piece right there. So you can kind of see, I'll let the camera come in. Let me bring my card in here, maybe that'll make it easier. I don't know if you can really see it on that one. Let me try another card. Can you tell I reuse? Is that too funny? You guys laugh at me all the time because I recycle everything, but there it shows you right there. Can you kind of see where the Flower Soft has stuck on the branches there? So I'm going to let that dry while we finish doing the rest of our card. Now, I just took a piece of scrap green paper, and I took these scissors. I love these. Now, of course, you could take regular scissors and make your little snips in there, but look at this. I can just make my grass blades so quick. That Martha, she thinks of everything, doesn't she? So there, of course, I made my grass a little bit too big, but you'll get the drift there. And then I like to do a little bending to it to give it a little dimension. Now that's going to be way too long when we put our card together, but that shows you each one of those blades cut down, and it gives me that really cool grass. Let me show you that on here. Maybe you can see how I cut it there. Isn't that neat? Look at that. Pretty neat. Okay, so that's our grass. And then I went ahead off camera and I found a little stamp that says Friends Forever. And I stamped also using Memento, and I used the Summer Sky Blue ink, and I stamped on there to get that impression of the cloud. So we're going to go ahead and stick that on there, and I'm going to use my glue glider for that. Is that too funny? I had to laugh off camera. I kind of forgot that I recycled that piece of paper. But it goes to show you, when I made the other card, you're not going to ever know that. So there's no sense throwing that piece of paper away. I have lots of little zippy bags full of scraps of paper, but they have to be a certain size to be able to qualify, you know. All right, there's that part. And then, I don't know if this is quite dry, but you know what? We're going to go ahead and stick that on there. Again, I'm going to use my zip dry glue. Now, here's what I did. I, excuse me, was not paying attention to what I was doing because I tried to do too many things at one time. And I snipped the end of my zip dry little nozzle here way too far down. And I get this big lump of glue. Well, then what happened when I put my little nozzle on, it was getting dried out. So I took straight pin and I stick the straight pin in there. And that really, it really does make a difference that the glue is not sticking all in there. So I'm going to try to put glue on this without getting it all over everything since I made that boo-boo a while back. The zip dry glue, it really is great for paper. You don't get that wrinkle. Well, come along now. Let me see. I'm going to do it over here and get it going. I said that really worked well. Now look at it. It's giving me a hard time. The reason I like the zip dry glue is because it doesn't, well, now what's going on here? Oh, for heaven's sakes. Don't you know this always happens on camera? I think I stuck a piece of glue back down in the hole when I stuck my pen in there twice. Now let's try it. You know how things are. There we go. Jiminy crickets. What I was trying to say before the glue gave me a hard time is that this dries and it doesn't make your paper warp. You'll hear me say lots of times wet and paper doesn't go together because it warps, but this particular glue doesn't do that, which makes it a very good glue. All right. Now, let's try and get this over here. And we're just going to stick it down on there. Now what I thought about doing, and I may still do it before I send this card out to somebody, I thought it'd be real cute to cut out a little sun and put right there. And I think I actually have a little punch. I won't even have to use the Cricut for that. I'm going to stick that back down in there and see if that really does help. Okay, so that dries pretty quickly. Then I'm going to measure my grass. And I'd say that's about right. Now what I did on my grass, I'm a real fan of foam tape. I use it a lot. And I buy giant rolls of it, and then I trim it down all the time. So I get a lot of mileage out of my foam tape. And we just stick it right on there. Oh, hey, I did that pretty close. Take that little piece off. So, now the thing is, when you make a card that has dimension, make sure you either write on there hand stamp for your Mr. Postman, and then you might also want to take it to the post office the first couple of times that you're doing your cards, just to make sure that you don't need to add a little extra postage. When I do, I'm going to give these a little angle here. I'm all of a sudden liking a little angle to my grass. I don't know why. Just all of a sudden I decided I needed it. Let me get that one over there. What I was saying about the postman, you want to take it there and make sure that they don't want you to pay extra postage because of the bulk. That happens to me a lot because I like a lot of bulky stuff. Okay, there we are so far. Now on my little deer, again, I used the Create a Critter cartridge from ProvoCraft on my Cricut machine. And I really like that cartridge. It's become one of my favorites because it cuts things out in layers. So my first layer was the base. And then my second layer was the tan, light tan color. And my third layer was the lighter brown, which gives it the little dimension. And then, let's see, it's first, second, third. And then the third layer would have been the little collar. Did I say that right? This is the base. Layer 1 is the tan, layer 2 is the brown, and layer 3 was the little collar there. And then I took my little Uniball pen and I just put a little dab in his eye. I think it just really adds more real look to it. Anyway, and again, I glued this together using my zip dry. And I used my little tweezers, because when you try to pick up that little piece of paper right there and put glue on it, it sticks to your finger. And you can't get it on there. So these are the greatest little tools in the world. So let's put some foam tape on him and get him stuck on there. And we are almost finished. On this one also, I double my foam tape because I want him to stand out a little bit more. And again, that's going to cost me more money. But you know what? If I really like the person, they're worth it, I guess. Or I could just take it to him in person. Now the one thing I don't do, maybe I should, but I've never done it, I don't go to all the trouble to put little tiny pieces of foam tape on their legs. I just don't think that's necessary, but I've never had anybody complain that their card was all bent up on the legs because I didn't. I think I might add a little tiny piece that I have over here on his tail. Just for because. There we go. Now you could use foam dots. You know, you can buy those a lot of places. The foam tape and foam dots do the same thing. I'm just a real big foam tape kind of person, I guess. And I buy these huge rolls of it. Alright, so here we go. Alright, and then we just kind of figure out where we want him. I think that looks about right. Give him a press down. There we go. And there's our little card. Now again, what I did on the first card, you probably can't see on camera, and maybe you can. I really did like a little more poofiness with my Flower Soft, and I can still do that even though I put my card on there. Let's see if that's dry. Oh, I think it is. Let me just show you what I did real quick. I don't think we're running out of time. I just put another glop right over the top of it because this glue does dry clear, so it's not going to be a problem at all. But I just like a little more poofiness there. I tap it so that the glue doesn't get stuck up in the top of it. I don't know if that really works or not, but for me it does. I think it does. Oh, I have glue on my fingers, which means the Flower Soft will stick to my fingers. So let's just go back and put some more in there. Now, I'm not going to pick this one up again until later. I'm going to let this dry real well. But again, if you notice, I'm not pushing down on that Flower Soft. The Flower Soft comes in all different colors. They've got the ultra fine, they've got the thicker, poofier stuff. Another one that's real nice is the ultra white one. I forget exactly what it's called, but it is great for snow. And what I would recommend is to get yourself some little plastic tubs with lids on them to put your Flower Soft in, because it's really a pain to get it all back in there. I'm going to let that one sit there, and I'll just bring this back in and show you our final card. Well, I hope you enjoyed this card. It's kind of a fall card. It goes along with the fall frolic that they're having over at Crop Stop, and I just wanted to make something fun. You have a great day. Bye!